Welcome to another edition of Special Session. I'm your host, Paul Steckler. A few weeks ago, we followed two new members of the legislature for a day, Republican Senator Dan Patrick of Houston and Democratic Representative Juan Garcia of Corpus Christi. Patrick, the popular conservative radio talk show host, made news in his recent face-off with fellow Houston Senator John Whitmire during the Senate's budget debate. Juan Garcia came into the House with a dream resume that included Harvard Law School and military service as a Navy pilot over Kosovo and the Persian Gulf. Some see these two as representing base constituencies that are important in their respective parties. Some look at them and see the makings of a governor's race of the future. Helping us clarify the political landscape that they're part of are our three guests this week. Wayne Slater writes about state and national politics for the Dallas Morning News. R.G. Ratcliffe is the longtime political writer for the Houston Chronicle, and Jaime Castillo is the columnist for the San Antonio Express News. Before we get to our discussion, though, let's begin this show with a day-in-the-life documentary portrait of these two new legislators, Dan Patrick and Juan Garcia.
Side of the Capitol building that very few outsiders see, but allows for quick access between committee hearings. When you're a freshman and you're in the low man on the totem pole, you've got the lowest priority for scheduling. As a result, my committees meet simultaneously, so I shoot back and forth to make votes in each one.
Representative Garcia is probably one of the finest legislators, a rising star in the state of Texas. A phenomenal member. You're going to hear more things from this wonderful, great young man. We're looking forward to his leadership in the future.
He read it. Colonel Noriega read it just like I wrote it.
That's right. Absolutely.
That was perfect.
Did you good?
That was good.
Okay, good.
That was good.
Yes, sir. John Weisbaker.
Yeah,
good to see you, John.
Man.
Absolutely. Hey, Joe, how are you? Didn't recognize you all dressed up.
Oh, yeah.
Who's this lobbyist in a suit?
Well, you know, when I come over to that radio station, that guy has a
First, we have State Senator Dan Patrick from Houston. In 1988, he launched a talk radio show at KSEV, and soon after discovered a little-known national host, Rush Limbaugh.
I have several bills that I have filed. One is a very simple one. It's called It's Illegal to Be Illegal in Texas, because right now it's not. So my bill would simply be an enhancement crime for local police officers if they arrest someone on suspicion of another crime to ask them about their citizenship. I don't think I've pulled up in this parking space one day when there wasn't someone, sunshine or rain, taking a picture in front of the Capitol. Usually a young couple.
1, 2, 3.
The American GI Forum supports this bill. Education is the basis for freedom. Let's give every veteran his due.
Why public service or running for office? I thought, since I was a little boy, I thought that was my calling, if you will. And I took a circuitous route to get here. I graduated from law school at Harvard and surprised my classmates and my future fiance by going into naval aviation, which is not the traditional route. I remember thinking that I wanted to have an adventure. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to serve. But most significantly, if ever involved in some way down the road in that most sacred of decisions, whether to send young men and women into harm's way, I wanted to have taken a turn myself.
west, or they have to hop.
Not much overlap between agriculture and defense affairs, so it's the trick is to shift gears very rapidly.
What this bill does is it creates what we call a limited agricultural co-op. But these limited agriculture co-ops work like a limited partnership or a limited liability corporation, and they are taxpayers. But what this allows us to do is now then you have two kinds of patrons. You have those that trade with you.
This whole process is kind of like flying in that it's there's long hours of boredom interrupted by seconds of terror. What we're trying to avoid is that feeling of being caught unprepared. And I think close to 10,000 bills by the time we're done have been filed. And they're complex, and they're subtle, and they're nuanced, and to try to take the time to be smart on them, to do your homework, and to handle your vote responsibly is tricky. But I find once you cut out the sleep portion of your schedule, that opens up 2 or 3 extra hours every day that allow you to do so.
My Mr. Smith Goes to Washington hat over there was a present from my wife and my son and daughter, because during the campaign it turned into a Mr. Patrick Goes to Austin kind of chant occasionally, because I really love that movie, and I think it stands for everything that the public believes in a public official should be, and that's to represent them and not special interest. I ran for office because I looked at my 2 children and I asked myself the simple question: what will Texas be like in another 20 or 25 years? What type of state are they going to inherit? What type of country are they going to inherit? I have not been able to find anywhere in the Bible where it talks about retirement. Do I take this time and really pour the resources that God has given me back into the effort of trying to make a difference before I leave?
9 minutes after 9 o'clock, 9:09 on KLBJ with Mark Ed and Sergeant Sam. State Senator Dan Patrick of Houston, welcome to KLBJ. Good morning.
Good morning.
We noted in Houston's Chronicle on Friday that you've authored a bill. Would you give them a brief summary of what you're trying to accomplish?
What I want to accomplish is simply to cut down on the number of abortions in the state, which number about 75,000 a year. This bill simply says to a woman only going into an abortion clinic, the Planned Parenthood folks, they're already required by law to give that woman certain information. And part of that information would be one more form that would say to this lady, we will give you $500 as an incentive to put your child up for adoption.
The question, though, if it's coming from family planning money, there's going to be less money to prevent unwanted pregnancies. Any worry about that?
I'm not worried. We will deal with that issue if it's an issue.
Some critics say that we already have books on laws on the books that you can't buy and sell children, and this
has nothing to do with that.
Thing.
This has nothing to do with buying or selling babies. This is just an incentive to have an adoption. Look, whenever you author a bill like this, you expect that you're going to get hammered from those who are pro-choice, and I don't mind getting hammered.
After you get done with the nurses' resolution, you can do the Dr. Hector sign-on. You want to go backstairs like normal?
Let's go this way.
Okay. And you've got the copy of the bill, and then also the bill analysis here, so you can scan that. And I'll text you from the gallery. I'm going to go find it right now.
Perfect. Thanks.
How you doing?